Hi ladies and gentlemen, fellow traders, welcome to another episode of Weekly Forex Outlook with Chart Engineering Pro. We really appreciate you for taking the time to watch this video, and we don't take you for granted at all. If you haven't yet subscribed or you are new to this channel, kindly hit the subscribe button and turn on the notification bell so you don't miss out on any of our content we post here. And if you find value also with what we share here, be sure to like this video, drop your comments, share your views, and share this video to your fellow traders or anyone who would find this information useful. Without wasting much time, let's have a quick recap of some of last week's setups discussed in our previous video before we dive into next week's analysis. So last week we had the setup on USDCHF, which we were in a buy position from last week, and price actually rallied and moved into profit, and we had a very deep pullback at the end of the week on Friday. So going into next week, we'll be looking forward to a possible reaction around this zone for price to continue to the upside, or we'll expect price to fall a bit deeper and then give us some buying confirmations to continue the buying opportunity or the buy move that we've been engaged in since last week. We have here CADJPY. So last week we had this nice reversal pattern here at the area of interest, and when the market opened at the beginning of the week, it just gapped, and then we missed out on this opportunity to take this buy to the upside, and it actually surpassed the TP that we were anticipating, and we actually missed out on this trade. I think all the JPY pairs that were shared last week, we actually missed out on the move because there was a gap, and we couldn't take advantage of it. And this is also AUDJPY, which we also were expecting some kind of pullback, or let's say price dropping a bit deeper into this area of interest before taking our buying opportunity, even though price had already tipped the area of interest earlier on, and then when market opened, it just rallied up and we missed it. So let's have a look at the economic calendar for the coming week and see what we should be expecting. And I mean, the US government's shutdown is still ongoing, and so let's take note of that. On Monday we have a bank holiday for Canadian dollar and then the US dollar. So let's look out for. So we might have some slow movements in the market possibly on Monday due to the bank holiday, and on Tuesday we have Fed Chair Powell speaking, and the Bank of England's governor also speaking on Tuesday. Wednesday we have the governor of the Central Bank of Australia also speaking, and on Thursday we have the AUD's unemployment rate and employment change event, and also we have the GDP on Thursday. And due to the shutdown, the US government shutdown, we have the core PPI, retail sales, PPI, retail sales, and then unemployment claims all on tentative because of the shutdown. And on that same Thursday, the Bank of Canada's governor will also be speaking, and Friday we don't have any high impact news on Friday. So let's dive into the charts for the coming week. We have here DXY, and for DXY we are anticipating this breakout of this channel last week, and price has finally broken out of the channel, and we are looking forward to a possible retest of this zone or a possible retest of this support, so we can get buying opportunities to continue the buys to the upside for DXY. And we'll look at it on the bearish side if price is able to clear all these lows and then we break below the zone and we look for selling opportunities. Until then, we are still extremely bullish on the DXY for now. We have here the Japanese yen index. It's extremely bearish now on a weekly perspective, on a daily perspective. The Japanese yen index is very bearish, so we are looking forward to a possible pullback into this area of interest to look for selling opportunities to the downside, targeting this as our first target, and then we have our ultimate target at the bottom, where we're looking forward to in the long term. So we are very bearish on the Japanese yen index, which means most of the XXX JPY pairs we should be looking for buying opportunities, so we should be looking for longs on the XXX JPY pairs. We have here EURUSD. So last week we managed to catch this sell from last week, where price was forming something like a head and shoulder after retesting this area of interest we identified 2 weeks ago, and we had this nice break of the neckline. So this was the head and shoulder we looked at, and price broke out, gave us a nice momentum, and then it came back to retest the neckline of the head and shoulder, and then we are currently in this sell position, and price has actually hit its first TP, which is this line we have here. So going into next week, we'll still look forward to catch some selling opportunities. So we'll be looking forward to a pullback to this area of interest. We look for selling opportunities within this area of interest, and then we'll continue the sell to the downside. So we are extremely bearish on EURUSD. This will only shift if we get price to break all above here and then continue to the upside. Until then, we are very bearish on AUD. We are very bearish on EURUSD for now. On to the next, we have GBPUSD. We also had the setup from last week, and then we caught this selling opportunity at the possible or the potential right shoulder of the inverse head of the head and shoulder pattern formation we discovered or we identified from last week. So this is the actual pattern we identified from last week. We identified this as the left shoulder, and we identified this as the head, and this was the potential right shoulder, which we have it already formed now. So this will be our right shoulder now. So going into next week, we are looking forward to a pullback into this area of interest to give us a selling opportunity, and we continue the sales to the downside. So we are very bearish on GBPUSD. It can only be seen as bullish if we manage to break above all these zones and then get price to break above this zone, and then we get a retest to the upside. Until then, we are very bearish on GBPUSD. We have here AUDUSD, which has also now finally shifted bearish. So for the coming week, we'll be looking forward to a possible pullback to this area of interest. We're looking forward to a possible pullback to this area of interest, so we get some selling opportunities or selling confirmations around this zone, and then we look for selling opportunities to the downside. So we are very bearish on AUDUSD for now. So let's look out for that. We can only consider this bullish if we are able to break above these highs and then we get some retest and bite the upside. Until then, we are bearish on AUDUSD. We have here NZDUSD. NZDUSD, we have been very bearish on it. Last week we were expecting some selling opportunities within this zone, and price actually reacted from it, and then we managed to catch that of EURUSD and GBPUSD. So going into next week, we'll be looking forward to this possible pullback into this area of interest again, looking for selling opportunities and continue the sales to the downside. So we are extremely bearish on NZDUSD. This will only shift bullish on a daily perspective if price breaks above this zone or breaks above this high and then comes for a retest or pulls back a bit deeper and continues to the upside. So we are very bearish on NZDUSD for the coming week. We have here USDJPY, and USDJPY, as we identified in previous episodes, is forming a harmonic pattern called the butterfly pattern. So this is the X, this X, this A, this is our B leg, this is our C leg, and the continuation to the upside, which is our D leg. So we are extremely bullish on USDJPY. We are extremely bullish on USDJPY. So going into next week, we are looking forward to this possible pullback into this very first area of interest here. Looking for a pullback here. Look for buying confirmations and we continue the buys to the upside, or should price pull back a bit deeper into the second zone we have below, then we will be looking forward to those buying opportunities to the upside. This can only shift bearish if price is able to violate these lows or break below this zone and comes for a retest and goes to the downside. So we are very bullish on USD JPY. And I think looking at the indexes, it's confirmed, or it confirms our bias with USDJPY, since we were looking at a bullish DXY and a bearish JPY. So we're looking forward to these buys on USDJPY for the coming week. We have here EURJPY. In EURJPY, last week we were expecting price to buy from this zone, and then because of the gap at the market opening gap, we couldn't catch this move to the upside. So for the coming week, we are looking out for this pullback into this area of interest. Look for buying confirmations or buying opportunities around this zone, and then we take our buys to the upside, targeting this as our TP for the coming week. So we are very bullish on EURJPY. This will only shift bearish if we are able to break below these zones and clear these lows, and then we come for a retest and price continues to the downside. But until then, we are very bullish on EURJPY. We have here CADJPY. CADJPY has shifted bullish on a weekly perspective and on the daily perspective. So for the coming week, we are also looking out for this same pullback into this area of interest to look for buying opportunities to the upside. Or should price pull back a bit deeper, we will look out for it, the buying opportunity on this zone as well. So we are extremely bullish on CADJPY for now. We had this set up on GBPCAD from last week, where we were looking for it to see price pull back into this area of interest to give us buying opportunities to complete this potential harmonic pattern, which is a 4-hour butterfly pattern. And price actually made its way into our area of interest and give us this nice and bullish candle. So going into next week, this is what we'll be looking out for on GBPCAD. As you can see, we got a structural shift here on a 4-hour. We had a structural shift here, and this is a nice bullish engulfing candle on the 4-hour for GBPCAD. So for the coming week, what we'll be expecting is a possible correction, or let's say a higher low formation around here, or we get a double bottom. See that we get a double bottom, then we buy upside, get a retest, and continue to the upside, or price will just give us a higher low, a possible higher low, give us a possible higher low, then we continue the buys to the upside to complete the butterfly pattern that we identified from the previous weeks. So we are very bullish on GBPCAD for now. This can only be violated, or can only be considered bearish if we are able to clear this zone and then look for, if we're able to clear this zone here and we get a retest and sell to the downside. But until then, we are extremely bullish on GBPCAD. So let's look out for that. We have GBPNZD, which is also extremely bullish for now. So for the coming week, we're looking forward to a pullback into this very first zone and look for buying opportunities to continue the buys to the upside, or we look forward to a possible deeper pullback into this second zone and then look for buying opportunities to the upside. So we are extremely bullish on GBPNZD for the coming week. We have here EURAUD, and EURAUD is actually developing a potential harmonic pattern, and this is the pattern that we have currently forming. Let me identify the pattern. So this is our X, our A, our B leg, our C leg, and our potential D leg. So we have a potential Gatly pattern developing on EURAUD. So for the coming week, we'll be looking forward to a pullback into this very first zone, we'll look for buying opportunities to take the buys to the upside to complete this potential harmonic pattern. So we are also very bullish on Euro AUD for the coming week. Should price pull back a bit deeper into this zone once again, we'll still be looking out for the buying opportunities to buy to complete this harmonic pattern. So this is the bias we have on Euro AUD. This can only shift bearish if we are able to clear these lows and price breaks below this zone and then continue the sales to the downside. Until then, we are extremely bullish on Euro AUD. We have the NZDCHF, which is very bearish now. So for the coming week, we are just going to look forward to a pullback into this area of interest. For the coming week, we want to see a pullback somewhere to this area of interest, and then we look for selling opportunities to the downside. So we either target this as our first target or this as our second target. So for the coming week, should price pull back into this zone, we're looking out for reversal patterns or selling confirmations within this zone and take the sales to the downside. So last week we had this setup on AUDCHF where we were expecting price to give us a continuation to the upside, but on Friday we saw this strong candle violating all the views or what we the bias we had on AUDCHF from last week. So for the coming week, price has now shifted bearish on the daily perspective and I think the weekly perspective as well. So for the coming week, we'll be expecting to see price pull back to this very first zone of very first area of interest and look for selling opportunities to this TP, or should price pull back a bit higher to this second zone, we'll be interested in taking or getting selling opportunities to the downside. This will shift bullish if we are able to clear this high. If we're able to clear this high, this high, this high. So for now, stay with the bearish position or bearish bias we have on AUDCHF for the coming week. We have here Brent crude oil or the UK oil, which we missed out on. It was a nice move, but we actually missed out on because we were waiting to see some more price action before we engaged in the trade. Price actually pulled back to the area of interest we were anticipating from last week and gave us this strong bearish engulfing candle on the daily time frame. So we're looking out for a possible retracement to give us a nice entry or with a smaller stop loss, but then price didn't pull back that deep and then it just kept tanking like that. So this was what we were looking out for when we had the 4-hour structural shift here. We were expecting price to just pull back a bit deeper or higher so we could get a nicer or a smaller or tighter stop loss to give us the selling opportunity to the downside, but we actually missed out. Price never really pulled back as we anticipated and it kept dropping like that. So for the coming week, we'll still look out for this possible pullback to this zone. If we are fortunate to get the pullback into this zone or within this area and we get any selling opportunities within this area, we'll be interested in taking the sales to the downside, targeting this 60.457 and then the second target as 55.651 per barrel for the Brent crude oil. So we have here the S&P500, and the S&P500 we're also looking out for a possible buy continuation, but on Friday we had this crazy candle just breaking everything and altering every movement we're anticipating to the upside. So for now we're anticipating the price is going to pull back to this area of interest, and probably before it gets there we'll be interested in getting or taking this sell to buy position. So if we are fortunate to see price pull back into this zone or area of interest, we will be interested in taking some sales to this area of interest, or should price pull back a bit higher to this zone, we'll be interested in taking the sales from that point to the downside to this area of interest identified over here. This will only shift bullish if price breaks above this high and comes for a retest and then it continues to the upside. Until then, the S&P 500 is bearish on the daily perspective. So we are interested in looking out for sales for the coming week. And then if price gets to this area of interest, we'll be looking out for buying opportunities. If we're able to get it, we're looking out for buying opportunities to get our bias to the upside. So for now, we are very bearish on the S&P 500 for the coming week. We have here FTSE 100 or the UK 100, and it's a similar setup as the S&P 500. So we are looking for it to see price pull back to any of these two areas of interest. And before that, if price is able to pull back into this area of interest or this resistance and gives us any selling confirmations, we'll be interested in taking the sells from this area to this. We'll be interested in taking the sells from here to this area of interest or the second area of interest, and then from there we'll be looking out for possible buying confirmations from these areas, and then look forward to the buys to the upside. And then it can only be considered extremely bearish if price also breaks below this zone and clears these lows and counts for a retest and continues to the downside. But until then, on the long term, we are still bullish. So we are just coming for this retest of these support areas and then get a continuation to the upside. So that's what we have on UK 100. We have here US 2000, and we're also looking forward to some buys on this position of this index, and then we couldn't get it, and price actually violated the zones, and then for the coming week we are anticipating a pullback into this area of interest. So should price pull back to this resistance or this second resistance, we'll be interested in taking a sell, or if price gives us confirmation within those zones to go for a sell, we'll be interested in taking sells to this area of interest, where we'll also be looking out for a possible reversal to the upside. So should price now pull back or sell to this zone, so within this area of interest, we're looking out for buying opportunities to continue the buys to the upside for the US 2000 or Russell 2000. I think the last pair we have for the week is Australia 200, and so we're looking out for this buying opportunity last week where price was around this area, and we're anticipating price to pull back to this area of interest to give us buying confirmations to the upside. So currently we have price in our very first area of interest. So should price give us any reversal pattern of confirmations here, we'll be interested in taking the buys to the upside. Or should price drop a bit further to the second zone we have here, we'll still be interested in looking for the buys to the upside, and that will be violated or shift extremely bearish if we get a break below this zone and clear these lows, and price comes back for a pullback here or either here and sells the downside or continues the downside movement. So I really appreciate you. Thank you so much for sticking through to the end of this video. I'm very much grateful, and I'll entreat you or encourage you to apply proper risk management to your trades and trade safe and sound. I'll catch you guys on another episode. So until then, have a very fruitful and a very profitable week ahead. See you guys on another episode. Take care and have a wonderful time. Bye bye. Don't forget to subscribe and like this video and share to your fellow traders. Bye bye.